out. If he butchers it, it's fine. Not a big deal.
All right. Lance Rozeboom, welcome to the show. Did I say that correctly, Lance?
You said perfectly, man. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Really happy to have you. Have you listened to the episodes before?
I listened to a couple brief ones. I haven't listened to full episodes, but I know you guys have had a lot of people on here, a lot of good guests. I'll probably be one of the better ones, but no, I'm kidding.
I love the confidence.
I'm kidding.
The standard, no, we expect, from what I understand, that's what we should expect. So I would also expect you're fairly sharp, so you know what's coming.
No, I don't know what's coming.
Oh, it's not that sharp then, is he?
Not that sharp.
No, he didn't listen to enough episodes. And tell people all the time, listen to them like 1.5 or 2 times and get those downloads really up. And yeah. So the first question on every podcast we ask is this the first pod you've ever been on?
Yeah.
Whoa.
First pod,
thinking about
definitely not a memorable one if he was on.
Well, no, I mean, I think it is his first pod. I mean, obviously I've been on the radio a few times, but I don't think I've ever been on an official podcast. So this is my first, boys.
Well, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be in Iowa.
Not what I was expecting for an answer, Ben.
Well, why not, Blake?
I don't know. I just figured his career travels would have brought him on a pod at some point, but we're honored to have you for the first time.
I appreciate it, guys. Again, I appreciate it. Yeah, but I can't think of a pod I've been on. But like I said, this is the one I would want to start off with. Kick it forward in Iowa. This is the one.
Nice. That means a lot. I was told the other day that we were only the second best pod in the state of Iowa. So now that
what's the other one's what's the other one called?
It's a beautiful game podcast by Anna Turi.
Okay.
Over in Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
She's awesome. She's a high school female goalkeeper, referee, player, does a bunch of coaching, goes to like the convention, USC convention, gets on podcast row. She's had some.
So she's pretty big time.
She's had some actually really, really big time guests.
So you know about our mini pitches. We were talking about them before. So she has been instrumental in bringing one to Marion, where she's from. So that's where one of our locations is. So we're pretty excited about that.
Your back door there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to have to go to the, you know what? I'll be in Cedar Rapids this weekend. So maybe I'll have to go check out the Marion mini pitch.
Well, it's not completed yet. But
where's I can check out the location.
Yes, surface is done. Hannah Park.
I can check out the location.
Hannah Park.
Yes. When's that going to be done? When's that one?
September, 1st of September time period.
Yeah, so pretty close actually.
Yeah. So maybe this is a good segue. How long are you going to be spending time here in Iowa? You're not sure.
I'm not sure.
But you're enjoying it.
I'm not sure. I love Iowa. Me and my family, we have a house here. So we will, whether I'm back and forth or what have you, we will be in Iowa for a long period of time for sure. We have 3 boys and they love it here. And my parents are from Cedar Rapids. Her parents are from Northwest Iowa. So we're kind of in the middle. So I don't have to, go to my parents all the time. I don't have to go to her parents all the time. It's not just a quick drive over for them. So we're kind of right in the middle. It's great.
That's pretty brilliant.
You've altered your normal plan, Ben. It's been quite a while since we've had a pod, but normally you get into the origin story.
I know, but that's like sort of started, but then we were talking before. All right. So Lance, usually
what happened? Did I mess it up?
No, it's my fault. It is my fault. My hand up. I'm out of practice.
This is your question. Ben always asks. Always ask the same first question. Ben always asks the same kind of follow-up question.
Follow-up question is, tell us a little bit about yourself as far as your origin story, soccer in Iowa, kind of being the focus. Like we know you're from Cedar Rapids.
It's been a while since we've had a legend on the series as well, which we haven't told them. This is part of the Iowa Legends series.
Far from a legend, but I'll tell. So I was, like I said, I'm from Cedar Rapids. I started playing when I was really, really young. So my older brother, who's 8 years older than me, he played soccer. And so I, as being the younger brother, looking up to him, I started off playing, 4 or 5 years old, but I just loved it. And so he's obviously has a lot to do with my soccer career. But
you're an 80. Sorry to interrupt. You're an 89.
89.
Okay, so that makes 89. You 32.
Yeah, 32. Just turned 32 a couple months ago. Thanks. Getting a little older, but still, not too bad.
You look fit.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You could use a little meat on your bones.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You can borrow some of mine.
So we I played for CRSA. I think FC Iowa was around for a brief period of time. You remember that one? And
that's like.
Yeah. That was Homer Screws. You guys remember Homer Screws?
Yeah.
Homer, he was my coach, obviously, at CRSA for a while too. But so I played a little bit for them. Then CRSA came about. I was very blessed, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier. Very blessed to have a club team that had such good players on it. Obviously, I've been able to play quite a few years, but I attribute a lot of that obviously to support from family, but a lot of it to the fact that I was just around a bunch of good players. Tucker Sindlinger, Jordan Cadlick, Ian Christensen, Kenny Perkins. We had probably 8. Danny Bauer, who went D1. So I think we had 8, 9, 10 guys. I could name a lot of guys. Within a mile radius, I was next to some of these guys. Remember 3-on-3? Yeah. Like the local. I don't know if they still have it, but yeah, local regionals.
Blake and I played 3-on-3 against each other.
3-on-3. How much fun was 3-on-3 though?
Great.
Yeah, it really was great.
Little goals and like. It is. I hope we're playing in a little. My kid's playing in a 3v3 event. I should. I'll let you know about it.
You should. And that honestly, it was so much fun, but it also helped. Like it did help. Like it helps with the small sided stuff. The footwork helps you get out of pressure.
It's also it's like 1v1, 2v2.
And usually, like when we played, there was no like real coaching. It was kind of like, hey guys, go out and like go play, and like you're just. Out there because the dads with the coach, or at least
But I tell you what, my brother did end up coaching us. But he was serious about it. He was serious about it, and I tell you what. But who was
your squad?
Who was on my team?
Yeah, who's your 3v3 squad?
Me, Tucker, Will Martin, Kenny Perkins.
I remember Will Martin's name too. He was a good player, right?
He was a really good player, right back. Just like a bowling ball, right? But the guy just got up and down, so hard to beat. Such an athletic guy. But we were like, and that was like
your 4.
Yeah, like
out of Cedar Rapids.
Like within a mile of each other though. So within a mile radius, I could ride my bike to Tucker's house. So anyway, long story short, I was blessed to have guys that were good enough to help me to raise my game. If that makes sense. So I was very lucky and blessed in that regard. Played club, then I played ODP when ODP was.
Relevant
was more relevant. Like Ian Bradley. Ian Bradley was our coach.
Man, he's a tough guy to get on the pod.
He is a tough guy. Maybe he's listening.
He was our coach as well. So
he was, yeah.
He's Bradley. He hasn't been on yet.
We've worked on it hard, and he's the only guy that has said no.
He did say he'd play golf with us.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Straight up said no. He's I'm good.
Well, it took us 6 months to get golf as like a maybe.
So Ian took us over way back in England. Yeah. I don't know if he took you guys.
Did you guys do a trip
as well? We went to his
parents' place over there.
Parents' place.
Oh, nice. Yeah, tea in the garden and the whole deal.
Yep, tea in the garden. Yeah, I think his late mom. I think she might have. Yeah, I think. But he. I remember that it was a lovely place. It was awesome. Like it was fantastic. And so Ian Bradley, he was a tough guy to please.
Yes.
Yeah, very tough guy to please. But that was good. It made us better. And then. So our ODP team was good. And then, so we obviously had the local guys, but then once we were so good, we started to have guys from like Nick Foster, from Des Moines. We had like Michael Thaden, for a short time. We had guys just start coming to us. So it was just a bunch of guys around, a bunch of good guys. And so our ODP team was very good. Which
let's dive in there because there's a story here I got.
There's a story. All right, what's the story?
I'll get there in a minute. But ODP, I'm assuming you were like maybe regional team player.
Yeah, regional team player. Yeah.
Talk about that kind of experience and how playing with, because this is way back in the day.
Yeah.
Obviously, the best players in the region were playing ODP.
Yeah, and also just talk about it because it's just something that I remember and. I think it's nice for it to be reiterated. Like talk about what the process was like during the week. Like you play in the pool games and like what it's like to wake up in the morning and the whole experience. And then to like being literally like called on stage at the end of the week, right?
Yeah, it was like it was good. It was really. So I'm introverted, generally speaking. Like I am. I'm introverted. So like this, and I was obviously mama's boy, youngest. So those camps were really, really good for me. So you go to these 5-day camps. The region 2, which is the Midwest region. So you're playing Michigan, who's always good, Illinois, who's always good, Ohio,
which is now one, by the way.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, it was huge. So you got back in my day, Ohio North, Ohio South. So you had all these teams that were very good. So you'd play So you'd train during the day. Then at that night, you would play one of the other states. Then actually during the day, if you played well that night in the games, you would be called into a pool of players that would play in the morning, a training session game or whatever they were training. And then they'd have a little game with all the best players at the camp. And back then it was, like you said, it was a big deal because that was the thing, right? ODP regional team, like that was the thing. So you had all the best players from that region that were there, which again makes you measure yourself to the best players in the region, in the Midwest region. And then, that happens throughout the week, right? So then it's like a tournament you play with the states. You get to a semis and a finals and whatever state wins, usually Illinois, Michigan. I think we got to the finals once, actually. Iowa, we did. My Iowa got to the finals once, but like it's Illinois, Michigan, some of those teams. Then at the end of it, you alluded to the regional pool. They call up, I don't know the number. We'll say 30. We'll just hazard a guess and say 30, whatever. Sure. Could be more. 30 of the best players that were there to stay another 5 days. And then from there, you train with those guys, with the best coaches from the region, whatever. And then from there, they choose a pool of maybe, it might have been like 40 or 50 players, but they choose a pool of 18 to 24 players. And then from those players, you go to a national camp. You can go to a national camp, which I went to when I was 12, 13 years old. And then the same thing for, you pick national team players, all that. Or you go on
a kind of big trip, right?
Big trips. Yeah. So I went to, like, with the regional team, because it happened, I was on the regional team for probably 4 years. I went to Italy, Costa Rica, a couple other places I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But
so you made the regional team.
Yeah, I was on the regional team.
Which is, I think it's fair to say, like, there's not many Iowa guys back in the day for sure that made it the real team.
Yeah, it's like we revere our 84 squad. I made the pool one year, but I didn't get to go on the trip or anything. I was like an alternate, and so it was like one of those, like, I got a T-shirt, and that was the end. I was like 26 out of 26, which is also nice.
But you were paving the way.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. There were guys before us, but either way, like, there were guys that, like, I think Jess Ritchie went, like Adam Williams, some of those guys, like, a lot of times, like, Iowa was known as like the team with the athletes, like, right? Like, we would get, like, whoever our best athlete was, they were like, okay, let's give him a shot.
Yeah.
And those guys paved the way for then, like, the slightly more skilled players to get a shot, which then paved the way for, like, I think when that year we did well, I think we got, like, say we got 5th,
which is pretty good.
Which is good for an Iowa team at that time. And I bet you we had like 7 or 8 guys that got some sort of recognition, whether it was like pool player, regional team, pool games during the week or whatever. And so, like, that was a big swing. But then those 87s, 88s, 89s, like, those are the boys that like you guys really took to the next level from the 90s, and then all of a sudden it sort of disappeared.
Well, the 88s, I'm going to bring
the 88s, weren't they like the lost years?
They were all the 80.
Yeah, the answer is yes. I'll say it.
Yeah, same with the 86s. The 86s had some players, but they were sort of like
they had some unbelievable
years.
Players.
Yeah, but they got anywhere.
They had more fun off the field, I think, than they did on the field.
And the 85s were like, they had McGee.
It was more frustrating because those 86s were unbelievable, but.
Who's on 86s? Who are there any names that you think of?
Ben Langwith,
Reed Baker,
I've heard
that. Des Moines
Shane
guys.
Peterson.
I've heard that name. Yeah.
Who are the? I mean, those are the boys.
Doug Perkins, like an 86.
Doug, he was. Well, that's Kenny. Obviously, I played with Kenny. Doug was. I think he was an 86. He was a good player. He was a good player.
No, those 86s. They had like. So back in the day, you remember going to the Grinnell camp, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you'd only have the opportunity to play against, the younger team, the older team. And so we would play like the 83s and we would beat them. And so then it got to the point where they're like, well, we'll give you a game against the 82s. And we gave them a good game. But I remember playing the 86s, like, on the other side, and they gave us a good game. Yeah. And it was like, who are these punks?
Oh, man. Well, I remember, so the 88s, because I went to one of those camps with the 88s a year above. And I think Mark Homa made the national. I think he went on a couple national team events.
He was on my high school team. He was a freshman when I was a senior.
Yeah, he was definitely in the national mix.
Yeah, he was on the national mix.
Absolutely.
He was. I just remember, right, because I was a late bloomer. I was so tiny. I just remember him being, in my mind, he was like a giant. Like he was.
And he must have scored 20 goals as a freshman at Valley. Like because he was just a big dude.
Yeah, he scored. Good finisher. But I remember him.
That's a good plug for our YouTube right now, because if you can't see, you don't know how big Lance is. He towers over me and you, Ben. He's fitter, which doesn't say much, but he's also taller than both of us.
Definitely taller. He's got longer hair, better hair.
Yeah. Have you ever got sent off at regional camp?
I figured that was going to be the one. I figured, you know what? Oh gosh, what was I? I had to be 4. I'm just going to guess. I'm guessing the age I was 14 years old. And so my buddy, so Tucker tells it this way. Like I was playing, I don't know who we were playing. I was playing well, and the ref gets in the way. All right. The ref gets in the way of the ball. So, and I swore at the ref, right? But not only was I swear, it was Tucker tells it like, yeah, and your voice, like you cracked, like as you said it, your voice cracked. And like I told you, I was a late bloomer, right? And so I'm swearing at the ref, my voice cracks, and then they give me a red card, and then I was sent. Then they put me back. Like the coaches told me to come back on the field
because I wanted to see you play. They're like you.
Yeah, the coaches told me to come back on the field. I was so confused.
Well, the story is because it was Lance Rozeboom, the coaches told the ref to put it back in his pocket, and he came back on the field, which is absolutely incredible.
That is, I think, the gist of it. But yes, in answer to your question, I did get sent. Well, I was supposed to get sent off, and I didn't get sent off.
You almost got sent off.
Yeah.
That's great.
I don't remember if my mother was mad at me or not, disappointed in me. I'm not sure.
So at least it wasn't a bad challenge. And they said, "Oh no, you can take that back. You just said something."
There's only one other. Honestly, I've never been. So there's only one other game.
That was gonna be my next question.
There's only one other game.
Next other red card.
I was sent off, and it was never sent off in college. Obviously, you get yellow cards here and there, but never sent off in college.
Here and there, I got them all the time.
Hey, tactical fouls though, man.
All right, yeah,
tactical fouls. Just smart player.
Yeah,
that's what it's about. Yeah. Smart player.
Bad timing.
Thank you, my friend. So this was in Ottawa, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
I think I might have been red card in Ottawa.
4 or 5 years ago, it was in Ottawa, but it wasn't a regular season game. So we were in Bradenton for preseason, and
here I'll meet you there.
Love it. No, that's good.
I got the sound guys on it.
Again, you have to check out the YouTube page to see what we're talking about.
So
we're in Bradenton.
So we're in Bradenton. We were playing, I think, Oklahoma City Energy, just obviously a preseason game. I was it was my first, I'd been the captain of Austin Aztex before that. And I was the captain, and so you got it. Like I was amped up, whatever, even though it's preseason game. So a really fast guy named Alex Dixon. He's on Pittsburgh right now, but he's a good player, but he megged one of our guys on the sideline, right? And then
what a jerk.
What
a jerk.
What a jerk. But anyway, this wasn't even intended. So he comes across the field and I'm running back, right? I'm recovering, cutting across the field. I see the ball. I'm like, oh, I'm going to smash this thing, right? I'm going to smash this thing. I go to smash it. I got all of him. Okay. I get all I get all of him.
So it's like a full body tackle, on a full sprint across the field.
I'm swinging through, right? I swing through as hard as I can. And the ref initially gives me a yellow card. This is a preseason game. Apparently, they were testing out VAR in this preseason game.
I was literally about to make a joke. And
they were testing out VAR in this preseason game. It's like the only one they were testing out on. So he goes over, he comes back. He's like, "Hey, man, that was pretty bad. Here's a red." And I was like, "Oh, man, all right, fair enough." And the bad thing is, I didn't even get to see it, right? So we videoed. They videoed the game, but we're watching the post game of it. We're watching video. The video goes out during the tackle. I've never even seen the challenge that got me my only red card in my professional career, in preseason, what have you. But I'm disappointed that I at least didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were a bit soft as a pro.
I was going to say, how many red cards do you have in your life?
There's a few.
Same here.
Okay, so let's go back. So you're playing CRSA, ODP.
CRSA, ODP, regional team. And
did you play high school soccer?
You know what? I didn't. So I went to Xavier. And that was what? How many? Is there 3? Is there 2 A's in high school soccer now, or 3?
There's 3 now.
There were 2 when I was there.
Correct. When we were there, it was 2 and 1. But so now you're correct. So you guys were in 1A back then.
And Xavier was in 1A, and we were good. We had good players, and I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was arrogance, like, so part of the reason is because it was in the spring. It was in the spring, and that's when around that time, 16, 17, 18 years old, the other clubs, the other states, they would play high school in the fall. So they would have the main tournaments like for the club in the spring. So my thinking was, well, I want to go to these main tournaments because I'm going to be seen more by college coaches.
So like we're 3 years, 4 years, 5 years ahead of you doing that same stuff, and nobody would forego high school. So you just got to play. Like that got you. Like you and I don't know how you felt, but there are times I felt like I had to play, right? Like what else are you going to do, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm assuming then.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just
because we love high school soccer, but
correct.
What you just said is a real conundrum, Frank, for kids. And I think there's more and more doing it over the past 10 years than the previous 10 years.
Yeah. So like when I was a junior and senior, I was just kind of like, man, I don't like, I wanted to go play in those tournaments because I was also like, I was playing with a team in Nebraska and you play the ODP and you go like, oh man, all those guys know where they're going already. Yeah. And I don't.
Yeah.
And my team is going to win state cup next fall, and then we're going to go to regionals, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like we're not doing really anything else. So it became this like big challenge of like, how do you do it? And so it's interesting. Like, I mean, because there were conversations about not playing high school, at least 1 or 2 years when we were going through high school in
Iowa, but you can't do it with 7 guys, and 10 guys.
And so that's the thing with us. It became a balance. Okay. Can you get enough guys? Like, even if it was on a weekend, just 11 of us, can you just get 11 or 12 to play in these good tournaments with these, or even, I think it was back in my day, it was Midwestern Regional League, which was, and so MRL, I think is what we called it. And so we would play Chicago Magic. We would play, Michigan, was it Wolves? Michigan Wolves.
Yeah.
And we'd play Scott Gallagher, who was really, really good.
So that was a CRSA team.
That was, yeah.
So you guys decided to,
well, here's the
mix
thing.
Up a few of you guys decided to.
Yes. A few of us decided, but like, I still could have, the reality is I still could have played high school and done that. I think but then I had regional team stuff too. So it was just like, and I was just like, I'm not going to play high school, and then people knew I was good in school, and then you just become an enigma. Like, why isn't this guy playing high school soccer? So I kind of was like, well, who's this douche?
That's actually hilarious because we asked our good friend of the pod, Charlie Bales, if he had any good stories about you. And he said no, because he was always so nervous to come up to you in the hallways in high school and talk to you. And that's legitimate. And I can see like Charlie's not lying there either. So you talk about like the enigma and like this guy, like there he is. So,
and the thing was, it's just like I told you earlier, I'm like, honestly, introverted. I wouldn't even like, I didn't go up to a bunch of like, I didn't do a ton of like, I played soccer in high school. That's what I did. I didn't do a lot of other stuff. I played high school. And then, so yeah, but now I'm like, all right, well, they're I'm just not going to show anything because they're just going to wonder. I'm just going to keep them wondering. But I could see that. I can, and my wife has said, even before in general, she's like, like you're a bit like you can be a bit intimidating because you seem sometimes standoffish, where that's not like, I'm not trying to be standoffish. It's just, I mean,
you don't really seem very standoffish.
Hey, thanks, guys.
I don't know. Well, I'll speak for myself. Maybe Blake thinks you're super standoffish.
Yeah. So what's you bring up a point. I'm just curious because we did the same thing. In high school we played soccer. Yeah. Like we didn't play basketball, football, anything like that. Nowadays there's this message out there. Hey, like, kids need to be doing all these different sports throughout their high school career and whatnot. What's your like? Just because I lived it, like I was like, man, that's tough. I can't comprehend how you would have time in the fall to be going out for football, or in the winter to be playing basketball, and then obviously this. So I'm just curious to put you on the spot a little bit here.
What's my position on basically guys and girls playing multiple sports? Essentially.
And I'll give you an easy out. Is like when they're young, that's easy. But as they get older I think because you have kids. So I'm just curious what do you think?
There are those unique circumstances where somebody's so unbelievably gifted at more than one thing that you'd almost like, you have to say, well, like, if you're so good, like there's the outlier. There's those outliers, right? That are unbelievable at baseball, that are unbelievable at football, that are unbelievable at these things. And they could somehow go pro in a couple different sports if they chose. However, most
LeBron James is.
Yeah. And who's the guy? Kyler Murray, like football, right? Like football and baseball. But those are extreme outliers.
You're Bo Jacksons.
Yeah, obviously extreme outliers.
Ben has no clue who Kyler Murray is. So
no, he has. Oh, that's
he doesn't. I know who you're.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
It took me a minute.
All right, you know what I'm talking about a little bit. But I think that it depends on the kid, because you don't want the kid to get burned out either. You don't want the kid to get burned out either. But from my experience, but this is just, I don't know, how God made me, whatever. It's how I was wired. I played basketball a little bit, and I was fairly good at basketball, but I just wanted to always play soccer. And that my passion was just driven towards that. And so I would do it on my own constantly. I would do it with my friends constantly. It just was that. And then once that becomes your whole childhood, and I had great parents that supported me. I had a brother, a family, entire family that supported me, now a wife and kids that support me. But you just it was my goal to play professionally from so young that I would have considered playing football or playing basketball or playing these other sports. I would have considered it to be a distraction to me. But I could also see the argument where, okay, soccer, you played soccer in the spring and the fall, take a little break, play basketball. Like, I could have seen myself playing basketball if I really wanted to. I could play basketball and not had that hinder necessarily. But then I had regional team events too. So maybe it would have. See,
like when I was always thinking about those, it was that I didn't want to take any of those things too seriously. So it'd be fun to, like, I would like to go play. Like, I played church league basketball a lot. Like, that was, or intramurals. Like,
I played intramurals too.
Yeah,
I played intramurals
I was all
too.
about that. Yeah. But as soon as you said, like, hey, you're going to go to basketball practice, I was like,
Yeah, I remember in 8th grade, I was on the basketball team, and we had soccer every week at the same. Basketball in 8th grade, right? It's Monday through Friday every day, and soccer was like once or twice a week at the old soccer house, which I don't know if you out there south of Des Moines.
I've talked to Brandon about it.
Okay.
Brandon and I, Brandon. I've never been, but Brandon and I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and we had one night where I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to soccer because I miss soccer every week, and like they benched me for like the game, and I was just like, all right, this is makes my decision easy. And I quit basketball. Like, I just stopped playing basketball after the season. I was like, all right, there we go, because I wanted to play one little night. But it's what age did you go strictly soccer? Do you remember?
I played basketball in middle school. I didn't play in high school. So I would have said, so was that like 13? 13, 14.
So I was going to say this question, but I'm afraid it just won't come back around. So like, at what point, like where along the line, and like, what was it that kind of gave you, I hate like using this term, but like sort of your spark to like, just like love soccer? Like, when did you fall in love with the game to the point where you were just like doing it on your own and you were just going to pursue it regardless?
And fair to say your parents probably had no like soccer background.
No, my parents didn't have soccer background. My brother's obviously I credit my brother a lot because.
How old is he?
He's 40 now. So he's 8 years older than me.
Damn, he's old.
Yeah,
he's old. Man. He is old.
But anyway, so I credit him a lot with being like kind of driving that passion, because he's my best friend to this day, So I looked up to him. And so I remember from a young age, I'm not even kidding, like 5 years old, I remember just going out in my yard and just dribbling just on my own. And so that's, like, I couldn't tell you an age. I couldn't tell you a moment. It's what I've known my entire life. Like, it's what I've known for 28 years is soccer. That's what I've known. I wrote I'm never going to read the book, but my mom, right? You have to write poems, these poetic things in school. Like, I was like 12, 13. No, I was like, not even, I was probably like 8, 9. You do these projects, you do these English projects, right? You do these writing projects. And you have to do it in this certain thing. And it was all about playing professional soccer. That was like when I was 9, 10 years old, where I'm writing about this stuff. And I read it when first of all, this is making me uncomfortable reading this, but like it was all about soccer then, So that's just what I've known. It's what apparently God intended me to do, and what He gave me the passion to do.
That's cool. So how'd you end up in New Mexico?
So,
and I always like asking this question too. Build this into your answer. Where else did you like take official visits to?
Yeah. So New Mexico at the time when they started recruiting me, when I was going on the regional team, ODP, whatever, all these things, they were ranked number 1 in the country. They went to the national championship. So then they started recruiting me. So then obviously you're like, as 16, 17-year-old kid, like, oh, wow, they're number 1, you know?
I have a great counter to the story. So just remind me.
I'll remind you. So that started to play in my head. So that immediately I took notice of that, but I also had official visits and offers from Notre Dame, Georgetown, Marquette, and then New Mexico. Now, if you're asking me now, I wouldn't change. I am where I have a wife and 3 kids. Like I am where I am. But like if you're like Lance, like Georgetown's offering some good money. Like it's Georgetown.
Isn't that where your boy went? Ian? Yeah,
that's where Ian went. And so. Like if I'm like, hey, you know, Lance, you choose a Y, you know, made the wiser decision.
Academically. Right? Yeah.
But even then, Georgetown actually won, or they went to a national championship like a couple years after I was out.
They were good.
They were pretty good, but
they were riding the Timmy Convey years. Sorry, it was like Bobby's younger brother. It was like the big deal that went there.
You're spilling all over myself. I'm sorry.
Again, plug our YouTube. I love it.
So anyway, Georgetown, Notre Dame, Marquette, New Mexico. But at the time, New Mexico, I'm like, I want to play.
Did you go to visits to all those places?
I did. Yeah,
were like super cool, right? All those places,
awesome. So Notre Dame's cool too, but like Georgetown, unbelievable.
Yeah,
man, like unbelievable. Like the city, like you know, you're looking at the monument, like it was amazing, and the money that's there. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
the money that's there is ridiculous. Yeah. So great places, but New Mexico was just, I wanted to play soccer. It was a warmer climate, so you could play really all year round.
No Drake contact really, huh?
They didn't, like, I talked to Sean.
That's the MO.
You know what?
Yeah,
no,
Sean.
but you know what? But this might've been cause I had about a year and a half ago, I just grabbed a coffee with him just to catch up. And I think it was one of those where he just knew that I wasn't going to look there.
Yeah, he claims that all the time, though.
But maybe he didn't want me. Who knows? I looked at Creighton as well. Creighton was very good.
Long-haired.
Creighton was. I wasn't long-haired till till I met my wife. Really? Oh. Yeah, till my wife. I was just a
good woman.
You know what? My boys.
I saw them in a picture.
They got long hair as well. Good hair.
Hey,
what do you
got to flaunt it, man?
You don't think it's good hair? What?
No, I think it's great when you got to flaunt it. No, I'm a hair guy.
Right. No, I get off and I get, oh man, it's 2 lovely girls.
I've got mine under my hat right now. Don't worry.
Oh man. Anyway,
so you end up
in New Mexico. Like I felt that was the best option to get me to play professionally.
So where'd all these guys see you at these schools?
They saw me
because there were no ID camps.
The regional teams the regional team kind of events that we talked about, and then the MRL Midwest Regional League games that I talked about. I imagine the regional tournaments, right? You hit State Cup, and win State Cup, you go to regional tournament. I imagine that one as well. And then I went to they contact me at that point. Then when I'm a junior in that summer, I went to Notre Dame's camp. And they thought I did very, very well. And then I went to New Mexico's camp, and they obviously thought I did well. And those two kind of had a relationship. So it was like, okay, bidding, basically, who's going to get them. And so that's kind of how that progressed. And then I went to New Mexico. Actually, I graduated a little bit early, went to New Mexico in the spring of my senior year, and to just kind of get into the team, get in with the team at that point and kind of get adjusted to the college life.
And you largely started as a freshman, right?
What's that?
You largely started
half and half, which is all right. Then after that,
it was a national champion at that point. So
yeah, and then after they were very good at that point. And then sophomore through junior started, did well, All-American my senior year. We're undefeated my senior year. We were undefeated because it goes down as a tie, right? We lost in a shootout to South Florida. Devastating, but that was my senior year, captain, all that stuff. So that's kind of how it progressed.
And what round did you guys lose?
Sweet 16. Yeah,
but you lose undefeated. That's brutal.
It was brutal, and not only that, yeah, it was brutal. It was awful. But we had gotten. So we obviously ACC schools. They get fair enough. They have good teams. But we got we were ranked. We were number 5. I want to say 5 in the RPI, and we were number 1 through the last month. right? For the last month, we got a 10 seed. We got a 10 seed.
That sounds about right, though.
Like,
because you guys are New Mexico.
I know we're New Mexico, man. We should have gotten away, dude. We should have got at least top 4. At least top 4. But
I'm not actually disagreeing.
R.I.P. New Mexico men's soccer.
I know.
R.I.P. is devastating, man.
So this is what's the funny part. Yeah. This is my counter to your story. Is we used to go down to Phoenix, Arizona every year. Not every year, but as the state ODP team, we would go down and play. Mm-hmm. And we would usually play in the top division of whatever our age group was. Mm-hmm. And there was a team from Phoenix from New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah, mm-hmm. the Banditos. Mm-hmm. And they were like really, really, really good. They would beat us all the time. And so then when I was a junior in high school, I played up with the team in Nebraska, and we won regionals and played at nationals. We played the Banditos, and they smacked us as well. So like, I'm just like these guys are really good. So in that same time period, I get a letter from the University of New Mexico, a handwritten letter, like come.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So do a little research and I see that they've gone like 0, 18, and 3. And I'm like, I literally am just like I'm out. So then like, as I'm a junior, I think a junior in college, we're sitting at home in November watching the College Cup, and
championship in New Mexico.
There's New Mexico, and I'm just like,
that's not. You know what? They were. I remember they were terrible. Then Jeremy Fishbein, the head coach, took over, and then they were good. Well,
I'm not claiming that I would have been a part of that team. It was just one of those funny things where you go like,
you might have been. What are you talking about? What are we talking about? I've heard nothing but good things, man.
No, I'm just saying it doesn't. It is simply just the funny, like the comedy of like, I remember sitting there drinking beer and being like, wow, I got a handwritten letter from them.
Yeah.
Drinks his beer.
Probably would have scored the game winner. They didn't win that. You probably would have scored the game winner.
Probably.
But no, so that is the long story, how I ended up at the University of New Mexico. And yes, RIP, the men's soccer team. It's unfortunate.
You guys were getting like tons of people at your games though, right?
Yeah, we had good crowds, man. Like 5,000 people, which is good for college soccer. And like you're at the mountains right in the background, dude. Great grass field. Oh, great atmosphere.
Is there a story like why is it just athletic money? Why it folded?
Title IX. Just kidding.
There were. I think I don't know the full story, but I think it's basically they wanted to funnel the money towards the football and the basketball programs, and the football program is so bad. Like the soccer program,
I say football team's really good.
The soccer program is one of the best. Like was one of the top 15, top 10 in the country on a yearly basis after the head coach took over, Jeremy Fishbein, and then just the money thing happened, and which is sad, man. It was a good program, a really good program, and it sucks to see, but.
So you get drafted by the one MLS club that gets all the Iowans.
Yeah, Matt Nickel, right? Matt Nickel. Yeah. I remember when I was young. I remember he came and he spoke to our team. I don't know if it was an Iowa ODP team, but he came and spoke to us and was talking a little bit about his experiences. And what'd you say?
I can only imagine what he would have said.
Top, what was that? He was like one of the most beautiful bachelors in DC. Like made the DC.
Wait, is that true?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's like a good little cover shot there.
Yeah, if you would have only been able to play on the reserve team, which wasn't an option at the point where you were just in or out.
Yeah.
But he got to play on the reserve team, and he was looking trim.
Yeah, man. I remember Ben Olsen, because Ben Olsen he played there, I think, during that time. Then he was a head coach there for a long time. He mentioned Matt to me, like when I was there, when I was about to sign for them, when I was in preseason, whatever you want, and he mentioned him.
We won't tell Nickelback that. We'll keep that to ourselves.
So talk about the MLS journey.
Yeah, MLS journey. So obviously, combine after like college, you do well. They pick, I don't know how many players, 100. I don't guess a certain amount of players go to the combine, right? Go to the combine, which is weird. You know, clearly I didn't do. You know, I didn't do well in the speed. I don't think aspect of it. But
tell me this while Blake walks away from us. You're a midfielder.
Yeah.
Or you're just like. Yeah, I read your stats. Not a lot of goals.
Not a lot of goals, man. Not a lot of goals. That's all right.
No. I'm just saying. So you're like
he's calling out the stats, which is fair.
Or no, so you're a defending midfielder,
defensive midfielder, and honestly,
not defensive. I feel like that's putting you on your back foot. I'm just saying you like to defend.
More of a number 6, yeah. Like more of a number 6.
I'm not trying to peg you as only defensive.
Hey, no. It's okay. Listen.
Soft number 6, though.
Soft number 6 with very few red cards.
Honest men stats speak for themselves, right? But so I played more defensive midfielder, but as the years, I'll get back to the DC thing in a minute. But as the years kind of progressed, with basically, I had to step in and fill places because some guys were inept to fill those places, and you had to so center back. I had to play quite a bit of center back.
This is my life.
Did you ever have to play left back?
He's not.
He was too good. He was too good to play left back.
You know what? But you know what? In a system, in a 3-5, we played in a 3-4-3, and I had to play the left center back a couple times. I hated it, man. Because I'm always coming off. I'm trying to open up. Like, dude, I can't ping I'm not gonna ping a ball with my left foot out there.
If you've never had to play proper left back, you don't really know.
Did you have to play left back?
Oh yeah,
we talk about this on the
start.
So you played left back and then you played right back, right?
No, like I was like in high school, I was like an attacker probably, right? Like I was like a forward and a midfielder. And in ODP, I would sometimes play center back and midfield. And then in college, as a freshman, I played left back, like for 6 games or something like that. I played a little bit of center midfield, like 1 game. And then as a sophomore, left back, center back.
Left back. How was that, man? Did you?
I loved it. I eventually loved it. At first, like then I didn't care because I was just on the field. But the thing that's funny now, right? So like then I had a good year at center midfield, and I was like, center midfielder, you know. And then we had an injury, so I went back and played center back. Yeah. And then now, like people just look at me and they go like, they're like looking for people. Like, you can go play left back. Like they line everybody up, and then they go, well, we don't want to leave bracket out. You can go play left back.
But you know what? Like it means.
I think the best player left back.
Left back, but it means you're
Severs is a left back too.
I've played, so we just talk about all the time. Like, it's interesting you say you bounced around positions because get back to your point here, but it gets you on the field and you play and like you know how to play. If you can survive there, guess what? You're playing.
It actually means and to be fair, it actually means people sometimes get mad about it, and I understand why you get mad about it. There were times when I was like, this is because my best position. Like there were times like this is. I'm really mad about this. I'm really upset about this, but I'm going to do it because it's for the best thing for the team.
And that's the funny thing when you think about this. It's like we all are so competitive and you can't help it. So like I literally I don't really care deep down. Like I just want to play. But like then there's that little edge of me that's like, dude, I think I could probably play that position. You can play left back. Like you can play left back. Like I'll go.
You said, you open up and it's on your left foot. Like what? What am I going to do?
I don't feel good about this either.
Oh man, but no, it means at the end of the day, it means first of all, you're valued, and it means that you're a good footballer. It does. You may like it. It does though. At least, okay. You can say it. You can say okay. It says you have intangibles, or it says you're the footballer.
The best worst footballer.
Either way. Anyway, back to your goal point. So there were games, right? There was a whole season where I was playing really well at center mid, and then the last like 25, like 3/4 of the season, because our right center back apparently didn't know how to pass the ball out of pressure, right? And our team was like, he wanted to play out of everything. Like the coach fancied himself as, don't want to get into it, he's the coach now, so I'm not gonna. But anyway, so like you play out of everything, right? Everything. You don't. So our right center back couldn't do that. So he's like, you're gonna have to go here and do this. I'm like, dude, I've never played center back, so I'm like, before games, I'm so nervous because it's different, right? Midfield to center back. You're the last. You mess up.
Feel free to make a mistake in midfield.
Yeah,
you make up for it.
In center back, you make a mistake. You're like, oh, geez. You know, it's a little bit.
It's already a goal. Like before you came, you
it's a little bit dicier. So so I bounced from there. I would go through spells of a season where I would play for 5, 6, 7 games at a time center back, and then I would go back to defensive mid, and then there was a time. Okay, I'll get into a little story. Playing Alphonso Davies because we know Alphonso Davies, right?
He's slow.
Speaking of left backs,
dude. So back to we'll tie this back to the combine. This is perfect. The speed test that I mentioned, right?
Oh yeah. What do they make you run?
don't even know my score, but I don't think it was great. Right?
They make you run a 40.
They made me run a 40. I don't know my score. I don't want to ever know it.
White guy from Iowa. He's not
good. White guy like
5+ over here.
Yeah, I never want to know it. So we're playing. It was in Ottawa in 2016. Like the Open Cup. This was the Canadian basically version of the Open Cup. We had played Vancouver Whitecaps at home, where I played center mid. We won the leg. We won the leg 2-0. It was 2 legs. Okay. So we're going into Vancouver then. Beautiful place. Like Vancouver's beautiful, by the way. Vancouver's awesome. The field there was awesome. So we're playing, in front of, 20,000 people. And, going into the game, we were kind of down a few guys. And the coach was like, okay, you're going to have to play right back. All right. It's fine. And then Alphonso Davies was 15 at the time. And you're going up against this 15-year-old. And in my head, I'm immediately, because I'd seen a couple clips of the guy. I'm like, this guy looks so fast, and he's a 15-year-old, so he's going to be so hungry, right? He's going to be just buzzing everywhere. I'm like,
for those that don't know, he's the Bayern Munich.
He's the Bayern Munich. He's the Bayern Munich.
Canadian international.
Yeah. So
and you're how old at this point?
I was 27. And you got a 7.
And you're going up against 15.
You go up against a 15-year-old. And this was but that's the thing, right? Because you're like, it's like you're kind of like a lose-lose. Like, oh yeah, you're supposed to do all this. Oh God, a 15-year-old just did that to you?
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. Anyway, I'm happy now that he's on. I'm happy now that after the story about self. So anyway, start off the game. It's going well. It's going fine. I'm doing well. Got into the attack. Almost score a goal. Didn't score. That's why I only have 4 because I just didn't finish him.
Weird.
All right. So
couldn't finish a bag of chips.
Couldn't finish it. So then I get a long diagonal ball. Get isolated with Alphonso Davies. And immediately I'm like, okay, how am I going to approach this? Because the kid's way faster than me. He's coming at me. Okay. He pushes it he's left footed. So he pushes it to his left on the end line, and I think he's going to cross it. So I
obviously
put my foot out because I'm comfortable. I was like, I've seen this 1,000 times. You're going to cross the ball. I'm going to block it. It's going to out for a corner. Put my foot out. The little bastard cuts back inside, right? Cuts back inside. I turn. So I have to turn my body. I turn my body to go at him. My plant foot slips. I fall down in front of 20,000 people. This 15-year-old just made me fall down. The whole,
And you didn't touch him though.
What? No.
You didn't. Oh, so that was
that's
right.
Right.
No. That's right. Because the only thing that had 2 red cards ever.
The sad thing is, I didn't even get a hand on him. So he hits the post. He didn't score. He hits the post. Right. He hits the post. Thank the Lord, because had that gone in, it would have just been.
You would have been posterized.
It would have been posterized. It would have been everywhere.
One of our friends of the pod's been posterized.
Oh, man,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Anyway, so that was the the right back, center back, all that stuff.
So you've played all the positions. You've done all the things. You're I guess. I mean, would you consider yourself a journeyman?
Yeah.
I mean, you've
been a pro for how many years?
I played for 10 years. I'm playing so.
And you're not like, no offense,
years.
But you're not like playing the Champions League. You're not a national team. You're not like a quote superstar. So that make you a journeyman, right?
Yeah. And there's nothing.
This is your
and
career.
Honestly,
you're like a hard worker.
Yeah. People sometimes, if you're, they might look at it is you have to know. At some point, you have to know who you are as a player. You have to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Am I good at soccer? Yes, I am. I am gifted, but I also know that there are other players that can do other different things than I can do, and I can do maybe different things than other players. But I know that my strengths lie in, okay, keep the ball very, very well. Side to side, very good in possession. I'm not necessarily going to get a ton of assists. I'm not necessarily going to get a ton of goals. What am I going to do? Okay, this player goes forward. Let me cover him. This player goes forward. Let me cover him. I'm very good at pressing. Let me press when I need to press. Let me pull back when I need to pull back. If we have an injury, okay, I would like to play center mid, but you need to go here because I know you can do the job, and I know you're going to do it to the best of your ability, and I know that you're going to give us the best chance to win. So there's nothing. Who's Milner, like for example, that guy. It's obviously at a higher level, but he's a journeyman at that level, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of a knowing who you are as a player.
Did you play midfield in college?
I played midfield in college. I had to play. I played some attacking mid in college, but that was because they wanted to get the best players on the field. I was boxed. I love playing box to box. When I got to play box to box in the couple years I got to play professionally, again, I didn't finish.
This is sort of my question though. Where do you play when you're when you're done? Because that will happen, and you're just you're in your early 40s or something like that.
Box to box.
and you're just going to play. Yeah, you're going to like just go
in
play.
7 years in the Sunday league, you're going to be a box-to-box midfielder as a 40-year-old.
Here's the thing.
Going up against 23-year-olds.
Whoever gets me on their team, I'm going, listen, you better be able to run. I'm going up and down. I'm going to.
So this is what I was told about you, is that you don't, there's not a lot of change of pace, but you never stop.
Correct.
I'm just saying like that. I was told, and you never give the ball away.
Yeah.
But like,
that was what we kind of just,
no, I'm just like that. I was, one of my questions when I was sort of driving over here thinking about it was like, I wanted to ask you what you thought about the way you played, and you explained it. And then I just boiled it down into like what I was told.
You know what? But I'm going to give myself a little credit. When I was,
you gave me the professional explanation, not the like, hey, what about on Sunday League? What's your game?
Sunday League, I'm going box to box. I'm going to do whatever the team needs. That's what I'm going to do. This is Sunday League. Whatever the team needs to win, I'm going to be there. But what was I going to say? Oh, give myself a little credit. This year we have the GPS units on our back, like. So we were one session. I got up, like I had to do one sprint. I was chasing after a little Jamaican guy, but like the next session, we had to do certain sprints. So you put the fastest and the slowest guys. I was in the fastest group.
Really,
to their shock and mine. We looked around and like, Lance, what are you doing? I don't know, man. I was just told to be here. He's like, yeah, this is the 6th fastest. I'm like, hey, man, thanks. You just made my 31-year-old, tall, lanky, white boy from Iowa.
The Jamaican dude helped you out, though. He improved your performance. He made you raise your game.
He was so fast, man. He started off, it was like we were practicing set pieces, and he, from box to box, man, the guy gets the ball like in transition, and he just sprints with the ball for 60 yards. I'm like, dude. Relax, you're 17. I'm 31. All right, give me a little bit of a break.
Be nice.
But anyway, and then to the DC point, ended up in DC, and that I don't know. Like, I tell you what, that process is brutal. Like the preseason process, because if you're not signed.
So because I think a lot of listeners here in Iowa, especially soccer, have no clue, right? You figure they were watching when you get drafted, they're watching NFL, NBA draft, right?
Yeah.
So to explain kind of that process,
they just expect you to turn around, you're on the team next fall.
Exactly. So combine happens. I actually did pretty well, but there was a moment that whatever, we don't need, that's a side story. I could talk for a long time, but that moment kind of how I reacted after a play, the coach told me, like the DC United assistant coach said, this is why, like because I did it in training once. And he said, I'm happy that you were here, you were still available when we drafted you, but this is why you didn't go higher, because of how you reacted.
So let's talk about it.
All right. So I was playing. So in the first half of the first game of the combine, I was playing really well, playing center mid, doing really, really well. Second half, they wanted to play me at center back because I think the coach said, okay, let me see if you can play center back. Started to play center back. The combine, there's no there's no shape, there's no organization.
No, and when you play,
everybody's out there for them.
Correct. So,
a bit.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And they look like when you say step, you look next to you, that guy goes like, F that. Like, I prefer to stay in this situation. You just look at you and they make
exactly
you
right. It's entirely about yourself.
Correct.
So anyway, that's going on. And then I'm like, I'd played one game at like one half of a game at center back before. So I'm still very, I'm very not comfortable there, but I'm doing fairly well. Ball gets over and I think I was playing left sided. I don't know why I had to play left sided center back. Anyway, that's beyond the point. So ball gets played diagonally. The sideline, I go there. I go to pass it back to the goalkeeper with my right foot. I scuffed it. I scuffed it, dude. I scuffed it. And this guy just comes buzzing by me one-on-one with the goalie. But you know what? You want to know how I react? And I'll tell anybody. I'll tell young kids this. I'll tell anybody.
That's why I wanted you to tell.
I stopped. Yeah. I stopped. I put my hands in the air. I didn't it was like, no, I didn't chase the ball. I didn't try to chase the ball down. It was just, and it looked awful.
Mad at yourself more than anything.
Mad at myself, and just like
embarrassed.
But he said like your reaction. He said I was in the stands. Your reaction, you turned half of the MLS coaches off to you just by your reaction there. So my message to any young kid, that somebody's always like in these situations, even if you make a mistake, we all make them. Like you've seen some of those guys, some of those goalkeepers, you've seen some of the defenders. We all make mistakes. All do. It happens. How do you react to it? Right? How do you go in a shell? Do you stick your hands up? Do you blame somebody else? Do you scream at somebody else for your mistake? Or do you own up to it and you say, okay, I'm going to man up. I'll move on.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that shut down in those situations.
Yeah.
I guess you probably learned from that.
Learned huge amount from that. And that story, like I could tell that story like overnight because it sticks.
That's how long. I mean, that was 10. Long? I mean, that was 10 years crazy.
Ago. Yeah, 10 years ago. But
how was the call getting? Was there a call getting drafted?
I was working out in the gym. I was actually very upset. I was very upset that I didn't get drafted the first day, so I wasn't even paying attention to it.
So this guy sounds like a little moody boy.
Well, I was in my head, right? In my head, I thought that I was better, right? And I thought that I deserved better. So then I got I think I updated on my phone. I said, okay, I was drafted at this point. I think it was I don't even know, 4th, 5th, something like that. I had to leave that night, packed up, went to DC that night. And like your point, okay, you signed. No, I wasn't signed. I showed up with a bunch of other trialists. And
you got selected to try out.
Selected to try out. It's exactly what it is.
Invited to try out, yeah.
Exactly what it is. So you're selected to try out. The process, man, I was 73 straight days in a hotel. So it was trialist after trialist after trialist. And there's one spot on the team. There's one spot on the team. I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought I was going to be, okay, probably going to be signed fairly. One spot on the team, trialist after trialist after trialist. And I, week after week, I grinded away. At first it was, you're getting used to it. You're nervous. You're playing with, Dwayne De Rosario and these guys. And you're like, it's a higher level. It's just at the end of the day, the play is faster. The pace is faster. The guys are better. It just is. So you're getting used to that, but I did really, really well in a couple of games, really, really well. And they're saying that this guy's probably going to play some for us. We didn't expect that. He's going to play some, but still they signed me. So I got drafted in January. They didn't sign me until March 7th. So it was like, my agent was like, yeah, they're probably going to sign you, but they haven't signed me yet. They haven't signed you yet. They haven't signed you yet.
You're wondering what's going on.
Going on. But so I finally get signed. I'm in Charleston. We're in Charleston, South Carolina, in the last preseason trip. Get signed. Then, I'm like, breathe easier, and I'm playing very well. First game I don't dress, play Kansas City. Second game I do dress, so we go to LA. And it was when Beckham and Donovan were there, right? I remember this day too, and I always remember it. So our center midfielder, one of our center midfielders was out on Olympic duty. Then another center midfielder was in. He gets a little nick, whatever. He goes down. They're like, man, start warming up. I'm looking at David Beckham and Landon Donovan there. Beckham's
who's the coach at this time? DC coach?
Who would it have been? Oh, would it have been? It had been Bruce Arena, right?
No, that'd been the LA coach, right?
Yeah. Oh,
LA. Who was the DC coach?
Ben Olsen.
Yeah. Okay, he was still okay.
Ben Olsen. He was there for a decade.
Yeah.
8-9 years.
The Golden Boy.
Yeah, the Golden Boy.
So you're wondering what you're gonna do?
I'm wondering what and my brother went. My brother was in LA for a business trip, and he was at the game. And I'm like, geez, man, I'm actually probably gonna go in here. I was nervous, to say the least. Guy gets up, I don't get in, but so we have to go to Vancouver a few days after, and I'm not trying, I'm playing very, very well. I'm doing very, very well in training. My form has gone up and up and up. I've gotten more comfortable. I'm gonna start at Vancouver. Training. Go in for a tackle. I body a guy off, plant my left leg, ACL. Done. Basically ACL. And I screamed. I remember screaming because have you guys ever done an ACL?
Yeah.
Did you? So was the pain what for you? For me, it was the pain.
It's the worst pain I've ever felt for 60 seconds.
Exactly.
It felt like when you grind your teeth, that feeling is like this gross feeling. But then it was like my knee, and then it hurt.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, I was screaming for about 15 seconds because the first, like you said, 30 to 60 seconds, I was like, oh my God.
And when I say minute, I have no idea. But just that first, immediately.
Yeah, it was painful. And then after a minute, I was like,
nothing.
It's fine.
Nothing.
I'm great. I'm good. The guy checks it, and he didn't feel anything. That's because I was probably defensive on it, right? Like he can't feel anything. So then we go to the doctor.
Got muscles at that point that are protecting it.
And we go to the doctor, and torn ACL, and that this is and they tell me yeah, you were going to start. Sorry, man, that's horrible. So anyway, torn ACL, a little bit torn meniscus, have to fly back to DC, rehab it the whole year. And then it's a cruel game. It's a business and it's a cruel game, right? That's at the end of the day, that's what it is. But the next preseason, they weren't ever really going to, like, they took up my option, but MLS contracts, especially then, I don't know what the rookie, like the first ones are now, but basically they can let you go whenever they want. So they took up your option, but they let you go whenever they want. And 2 weeks into preseason, I was still like, you're still recovering from the ACL. Like, you're still getting your athleticism a little bit back. You're still doing these things. It's like, nah, we're gonna let you go. Ben Olsen told me we're gonna let you go, and that was devastating. I stayed and trained with them for a little bit longer. Don't get me started. Like, these guys, man, like my agent, these guys, like, you know what? They might give you another look, because there was no other team, because I didn't play the year before. So it's not like I had a ton of options in the MLS. They said, stay here. If you train well, they might sign you back. I did train really well.
You're paying to stay there. I mean,
they pay. They take care of it. But I did play really well in a couple games. I did play really well. Like, I know, I'm honest with myself. Like, I know when I play well. I know when I play poorly. They were never giving me a look. So then at the end of the preseason, like, nah,
damaged goods.
Yeah. So then the preseason, and they take in a foreigner who's it's a ridiculous situation, because a lot of these guys go through this, right? They take in a foreigner who's going to cost more money than you, when I could develop an American guy who's very cheap, give him a chance here to develop as an American. No, I'm going to take in this foreigner who I'm probably going to leave, who's probably going to be in the team for a year, who's not even that good, which is exactly what happened. Anyway, end up in Rochester.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, that story is told. Well, like you said, and not to like take away from you at all, but like, there are so many American players that can tell that story, which is really sad. Mm-hmm. But it's good that you kept going, and then you ended up in Rochester.
You didn't skip over any Menace years yet.
He has. He's skipped away.
I know. Was I supposed to? Did you want me to discuss the Menace part?
I think just briefly. Like,
absolutely, I will.
When did you play for the Menace? What year?
2007. So when I was 17, and 2007 to 2009. 2007, I was still in high school. I played.
Who was the coach?
Casey Mann.
Was Casey still there? Okay.
Oh, nice.
Must have been his last year. Before
he was 2. I was with him for two or three, actually. I think. But anyway, so I 2017. I look back at those photos. I'm obviously skinny now, but man, I was just like a little baby. I look at myself, I'm like, geez, man. Anyway, so I played there for quite a decent amount of games. I don't remember how many. I don't even know, but like, I did pretty well. 2008, I played quite a few games when I was about to go into college. 2009, I only played a handful, but 2007, 2009. But it was a great experience for me. I got to live in Des Moines for one whole summer. I got to play with a bunch of very good college players that kind of helped me to get ready for my college experience at New Mexico. I got to test myself against, at that point, you're starting to play against grown men to an extent.
Yeah, for sure.
And I got to test myself against some grown men, which I think was an unbelievable experience for me. And I got to play in Iowa, man, place that I love, place that I grew up in. And
it's interesting on your path. You haven't talked about like playing up, because your club team was like so good, but like a lot of kids, I mean, we talk about it, Ben, right? Like playing like up in age or up at, to age, playing against older, better players in the player development piece.
Yeah. Which is my nephew, actually. He's 10. He plays 2 years up. So he plays on 12s and FC United in Cedar Rapids. But yeah, it's a good thing to be able to like, because it doesn't matter. You look at some of these guys, and this is where the States is just different, right? I've talked to I've played with so many different professionals, right, throughout my years. But they're like, like we're playing professionally at 16, 17, 18 years old. And we start, and now the academy, it's a little bit different. You have the academy system and homegrown players. And now you have USL teams that will take in some of those, and USL 1 will take in some of those younger players, which is good. But it's just a different life, man. I played with guys that, guy that was in my wedding, he played professional soccer for 18 years. And that's a long, long time to play professional football, man. I mean, but they start really young. So it's good for these kids if they are good, if you are talented. In Iowa, the landscape, whatever, that's a whole different conversation. But if you can play up and you can test yourself, I think it's good to be able to do. But anyway, so Menace was fantastic. Menace was a fantastic experience. I loved them. I should have mentioned it, because the Des Moines Menace, national champions, huh?
You were at the game the other night.
I was at the game. I was at the game with my 3 boys, my wife. We loved it. The boys got to walk out. Jordan Skelton, the captain, Charlie Bales, who's, has been mentioned in this podcast, done a really, really good job. And Mr. Kraus takes care of his players, takes care like he does, runs a first-class organization.
For sure.
And then I'm so happy for them. And obviously soccer and I was pretty excited right now. You have you got the USL Pro hat on, you got, so there are some exciting times ahead, and I'm happy for the Menace. I think it's a great organization, and I'm just happy for them. I'm happy for them.
So you've played in how many markets now? I saw Austin on that list. I see Rochester on that list.
Mm-hmm. DC, Rochester, DC. Austin, Ottawa, St. Petersburg, Miami. Yeah.
And then you've got Des Moines as a reference point. Mm-hmm. So stack us up to those places. We're not going to compare to somewhere like Austin.
We're talking city, right?
Yeah. I'm just being think about it like a place to if you're going to imagine, it's 10 years ago and you're starting over your pro career, where would you want to go?
So obviously Austin is there's so much to do in Austin all the time, right? That's a different, that's why I said you can't compete with Austin. It's
but
that's grown so much. So there's something to be said for that, where it's grown almost too much. Where
now they've got an MLS team.
And they can do have an MLS team now.
You wouldn't go play there for the Aztecs, would you?
Certainly not. But Des Moines, obviously I've been here. My wife's been here a little longer because of obviously back and forth in Miami and stuff. But I love Des Moines, man. I think Des Moines is such a great city. You got the surround, Des Moines city itself is awesome. Then you got the awesome surrounding areas. I think that. And the way it's growing, man, the way Des Moines is growing. And then, I was out at the game the other night, and I know it's a championship, but nonetheless, you have 7,000 people there. There's an appetite for it, right? There's honestly, I went on a walk with my kids the other 2 days ago, and we're walking down the sidewalk, and these two different families at two different times, those are the blonde kids that were at the Menace game the other night. I'm like, all right, well, but there's an appetite for it. And I think that's exciting. And obviously there's a lot that has to go on for the USL, the professional team to come. But I do think that there is a very good market here for that. And I do think that guys they're going to, I know come to Des Moines, sign in Des Moines. They'll like it. It's a cool city. It's a very, very cool city. And I think that the organization, like I said, Kyle Kraus, the owner, he takes care of his players.
The Menace boys seem to have enjoyed Des Moines.
Yeah.
But then I also think it's funny just because you say that there's 77,000, 7,500 people out in West Des Moines at a high school football stadium to watch soccer. What if you were in a soccer specific stadium downtown Des Moines? You go out to dinner beforehand, you could walk over more than 7,000 people are interested in that.
That was the best environment, I think, honestly, in the history of Iowa soccer.
Absolutely. Well, I obviously haven't been to every, but I would imagine.
There's nothing else that would. The high school state tournament day one is cool, but there's not that many people. Mm-hmm. But the two, that was. I don't think what else would rival.
Tanner Kraus said that when Freddie Adu, they had Freddie Adu come in town, he said there were a lot of people there, but they were only there to just see Freddie, not to watch the game.
Yeah.
There were people there to watch the game the other night. And my counter to him was, well, what about the Morelia and Monarchas, the game that we played in? And that game was wild, but I don't think there were 7,000 people there.
Wait, what game? What game?
Monarchas down there in Liga MX, right?
Yeah, they came
in
Monarchas.
Back in
2003. At
Hoover High School, and the Menace were playing there.
McGrain Stadium.
How many? What would you guys get? They're
there maybe 3,000 to 4,000, but there was 90% were Hispanic.
Yeah,
or Monarchas fans.
That's a different.
So Blake played 90 minutes that game.
As left back, and you came in at left midfield.
Yeah, but this is what the comedy is that I think I'm going in at halftime, but as the first half is winding down, Matt Bourne gets in a fight at half field, literally grabs a guy, headlocks him, starts slugging him, gets sent off. And so we're down a man.
They're throwing the water bottles are throwing.
Yeah, water bottles.
I'm sure there's things in water bottles that are thrown.
And then I'm going on at halftime, and I'm like, okay. I remember Blake looking at me and going, let's go, bracket.
We were young. We were
18, 19. We were young. We were 18 for sure.
Hey, that's awesome though.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, but it was just like hilarious too because I just remember looking at him going, "Oh no."
So you didn't get on? Did you get on?
Oh no, I played that.
Oh yeah, you played. Yeah, absolutely.
I got yellow carded.
Did you?
Crunched a boy.
How many? You have a lot of red cards, don't you? you have a lot of red cards.
Double digits, baby. Like how many red cards you got?
A few.
A few?
Hey, that's all right. You know who else has a lot of red cards? Sergio Ramos.
Yeah.
Winner.
Yeah.
That guy's a winner. Oh man. But anyway, man,
more yellow cards.
There's an I think if you do it right, which I think the USL, I think, the thing is, you watch how Mr. Krause treats people within his organizations and his what he runs, and he does it very well. He does things right. And you look at the Menace, he does it right. And so then there's no question that with the USL team, whatever hoops that you have to go through, it will be done right. And if it's done right, and then you connect with the community, which has already begun, people are going to show up. People are going to show up. Now there's, some teams, there's hit or miss. There's some expansion teams that you never get any fans. Like it just doesn't work. But there are some teams like Cincinnati. You're not going to get Cincinnati. Cincinnati was like 30,000 opening, just like 30,000 opening in USL. But if you do it right, which I think they will do it here, I think there's an appetite for it. I do. And I think that that's exciting. And I think that's a great thing for the youth coming up. I think it's a great thing for the youth coming up and for kids. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for professional soccer in the States. I know it's a crap show at times. I've been a part of it. I've been a part of the crap show, but there are more opportunities than there ever have been. Now, just how do we translate that? How do we maximize that in Iowa? And I think that's something we have to ask ourselves too.
So you're, regardless, your age will preclude you from competition here at some point. Are you what do you see your role moving forward? Like, are you going to be a coach? You're just going to fade into the dark? No,
yeah, you know what?
Back to Iowa and just be like an educator, like a coach.
I love football so much. I love it. The sport has done God has done so much for me, first and foremost. But obviously, I love, we've talked about, I love it. So I want to, in whatever capacity I have. I have 3 young sons. I hope they play. If they don't, that's fine. But I hope they play, so I'll help them out in any way that I can. But I will help my nephew. My nephew's playing now. He's apparently good. So I'm going to help him out in any capacity I can. Or my other nephew, he plays too. So I'll help him. I'll help. Honestly, my goal, not even my goal. What am I going to do? I don't know. But what I know,
I'm not telling you to
but I do know what I do. I do know that I want to connect within the community where I can, because at the end of the day, I have experiences that maybe some people don't in Iowa, and maybe in some ways I can help here or there. It could be coaching. It can be just a word with a kid here, a word with a kid there. It could be private. It doesn't, just along those lines, connecting with, with Charlie Bales, connecting with the Menace, just all of those things, and just helping where I can help, being of service where I can be of service. Because like I said, God's given me everything, but like the game, I've had great coaches. We've talked about Ian Bradley. We've talked about, I think there's Andrew McKnight. We've talked like
Officer McKnight now.
Officer McKnight. How long has he been an officer?
He's a police officer.
How long has he been?
A couple years at least.
Silver tongue Cavalier.
I gotta get a man. Anyway, so I've had really good coaches that I'm thankful for, that have helped me along the way. I'd like to be of service in some way. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know where it's going to take us, but you know what? Listen, I'm a smart man, guys. I married a lawyer. All right.
What did you major in New Mexico?
What did I major in? Dude,
as a wolf?
Absolutely not. It's like
nothing.
Absolutely nothing. It's like a random degree that will get me nowhere in life. That's the truth. My dude, it was like university studies or some crap, but like seriously. But the truth is, man, that that's why I said I would probably have gone to Georgetown, right? I probably would have gone to Georgetown for that. But like my life experiences playing soccer, like I played it for a decade, and the organizations I've been a part of, the teams I played for, the things that I've seen that team shouldn't do, that organization shouldn't do, that organization should do, have been priceless for me. I would honestly not change that, because I've learned so much. I've got to captain 3 different teams. I wouldn't change it, man. Honestly, I wouldn't change it. I'm very blessed. I hope I get to play. Like, you know what? I hope when I'm 35 and the Menace comes in and they're buzzing around, I'll stay in shape. I'll see what happens. What happens.
All right, my last one here for you. You gotta make a 5-a-side team. We talk about mini pitches, 5-a-side. So, team of Iowa natives on your 5-a-side team, and then the players you have played with in your career.
Okay, so the 2 teams apparently.
Yeah. Okay. One going up against each other.
The Iowa natives. Well, I can't the older.
No, it has to be people you know.
People I know. So Tucker Sindlinger.
Where's he playing at though in this 5-a-side?
Tucker Sindlinger.
Or are you guys just go out and play? Like no formation.
Go out and play to start with. But Tucker's more
definitely
forward.
definitely not in the back. Tucker's
forward. Tucker will be forward. Tucker's
scrappy
clever
though. He's
Tucker's
scrappy.
He's clever too. He's a clever player. I don't know what he like.
No, he's super clever. But
he's a bit naughty.
But I was gonna say the thing I like about him most is he's scrappy. He's naughty.
He is a bit scrappy.
He loves. He's a bit
dirty. Tucker. He is.
That's my favorite part about Tuck.
Tuck's a bit dirty.
He's a great player, but loves to get stuck in.
He is. I'm taking Ian.
Sounds like that's also a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good footballer, man. Like his awareness and his technical ability. He's got that nice little left foot. He was a good player. So that's 3 of us.
Oh, you're putting yourself.
Am I not supposed to be?
You're the boss. You pick.
No, why would I not be in it?
You pick.
No, I'll take myself out of it. I'll take myself out of it.
You should.
I'll take myself out of it.
Blake is just like
just interesting.
Okay, so I got Tucker.
Usually people get to 4 and then they go, "Wait, am I in?"
Yeah, that's why I was like, he automatically put himself in. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
What do you? I mean, I just like
it's your team.
It's got to be the best. It's got to be the best team, right? It's got to be the best team. I'm taking Will Martin because he's an absolute pit bull and he is a beast. So I'm taking him. So that's 4 of us. The 5th.
If it'll help, are you guys playing with a goalkeeper, sweeper keeper? It's up to you.
I wasn't even considering a goalie.
Unlucky Jordan.
Yeah.
I wasn't even. No, I didn't even. Well, I was thinking. All right. But I mean, if you have to have a goalie, then I'll have Cadlick.
Well, you're not playing sweeper keeper. That's interesting.
He's got no feet.
He's gonna kick it with his left foot.
Dude,
miles over.
I love Cadlick. We'll figure it out. I'm not taking Cadlick.
I love it.
But he is good, Jordan. If you ever hear this,
he's great. He's also not listening.
Yeah, we only have 7 people that listen. So he's not one of them.
Lance Rozeboom. I don't want to listen to that.
That guy. Who's that? Stats: 3 goals. It'll lose it.
I saved $.
So that's 4. 5. God, I'd almost put I've done my 3v3 team minus Ian, so I just put I got
brother.
Can you?
So it's literally no. So it's literally.
But I thought it was people I played with. I didn't play with my brother.
No, it was just your favorite 5 people.
You're we're talking about different
You're gonna upset a lot of people.
I would consider my brother the coach. So my brother's the coach. He'll be the coach. Okay, so he's involved.
So we got one more here.
Yeah, I'm going to be loyal. I'm going to take Kenny Perkins. I'm taking Kenny Perkins. I'm taking my boys, man.
The OG 3v3 squad.
Yeah, and then Jordan Grimm will come on as a sub. That's my 3v3 squad.
Well done. Okay, it took a little bit.
And then 5-sided who I played with.
Hey, just for the record, congratulations for getting through that because the amount of people that don't get through that is shocking.
That's not very good.
I'm just saying.
They get uncomfortable because they're like, oh, I don't want to offend this person or that person.
And then they go, I'll give up.
Yeah, well, we don't do that here.
Just saying, congrats.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for the words.
This will be the longest segment, by the way, this part too.
Who I've played with. So okay. So if they were, can I have them when they're in their prime?
You can have them whenever you want.
Yeah.
If you want them outside their prime, that'd be even better.
Yeah. Best play. I mean, I'm just curious. Who are the best players?
Joe Cole.
Like the English Joe Cole.
The English Joe Cole.
You played with him at where?
Tampa.
That's true. He would have done that. Ridiculous.
That's massive.
Marcel Schaefer, Bundesliga for 9 years. Wolfsburg. Now he's the technical director at Wolfsburg. Unbelievable player.
Don't know him, but
he's good.
Miami.
Where'd you play with him at?
I played with him at Tampa.
Okay.
Who's the freaking GM at Tampa?
guy named Lee Cohen, but they paid a ton of money for a while. So the NASL days, NASL days, right?
So that's why I think you might know Rhett Bernstein because he was playing down there in the NASL days.
Who do you play?
In Miami? I don't know.
Did he play?
Definitely was not his teammates.
I was thinking, Rhett. He's not. He's not from Iowa.
No, he's California.
Dude,
San Diego boy.
I was thinking. I've heard that name before, but an Iowa guy. Yeah, did he have a big? I think
he's just the hairiest guy I've ever met.
He played in Miami. Probably made a lot of money. Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you,
he's a DJ in Europe now.
Now that makes. I was like, okay, now it makes a little more sense. Yes. Makes a little more sense. He was actually pretty good.
He's very good. He was actually very good. Beast in the air.
I'll tell you. So when I was in Ottawa in the NASL that year, they bought Miami FC, bought a guy named Richie Ryan for $750,000 in the NASL. Bought him for $750K. They bought Michael Hood, who was in the MLS, for $300K. This is the same year. They bought Poku. You probably heard that.
Poku, I've heard that name.
For $300. They bought him for $300 that year. I know. Then they bought a guy who's on our team, Johnny, the guy named Johnny Steele. They bought him for like $100K, and that was just what they bought, and that was 1 year. So they were money, and then so the money in the NASL, like Tampa, they were making, like, most of those guys were making really, really good money. Guys on Minnesota United, when they were in the NASL, they were making really, really good money, which is why kind of the NASL obviously isn't here anymore, because you can't. The business model is not great.
No, you can't play in little teeny stadiums and not have make them watch the game.
But it was cool because that was actually a good league, because you had good players, like really, really good players.
Yeah.
Like on the Cosmos, they were good players. But anyway, so the guys I played with, I have Marcel, I have Joe Cole.
Yeah, sorry. Got you off track.
That's all right. It's your show. You guys do whatever you want to do.
You're the feature.
Guy named Ariel Martinez, who's on our team now. It's on Miami FC. He's a Cuban guy. Actually, cool story. He was on the Cuban Gold Cup team a few years ago, and it was so they came to the States for the Gold Cup. There were like 6 guys that defected, and he was one of them. And he was the captain. So he was the captain. He got them, like, so I'm telling you, he is first, like, a really, really good player, like a number 10, so clever, that speaks no English, but like so clever on the ball, so aware. He's 34 now, but he was he is such a good player. But they got to the States, right? They somehow got to the group stage, but he was telling the story to us in Spanish that are being translated like a couple months ago. It's like, at the hotel. And I looked at the guys that were getting me were really, really scared because there's cops all around, because a couple other guys had already defected. And he said, "Okay, thank you, coach." Just turned around, sprinted, and the coach is yelling, "No, no, no." He's just sprinting towards the car, gets in the car, they speed away, and he ended up in Charleston for like a year, then it ended up in Miami. So like so he's like a guy that's thankful, like, thankful for the States and stuff like that. He is one of them, but it's a crazy story, but I would take him. So that's 3. I guess I'll leave myself off this one.
You have to leave yourself off until the next pick. Until the 5th pick. You can make your 4th pick, and then you go, and I'll take myself.
All right, so we got a good attacker. So we got Ariel, Joe, good attackers. Marcel, in his prime, he'll probably defend, but he didn't defend much when he was older, but he's so good. Then
you could just outscore everybody.
Man, you know what we could? Julian de Guzman. You know that name?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll take him. So you got La Liga, you got Bundesliga, you got English Premier League, and you got the Cuban defector.
And you.
I'm gonna be on this team. Yeah, I'm gonna be on this team. I'll hold down the back. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let these guys. Listen, I'm gonna cover these guys. And they do what they want.
You said you're a team player.
I told Joe. I was starting for Tampa. For Tampa, it was like I got hurt later in the season, but I was starting a good bit for Tampa every game. And I looked at Joe. We were training one day, and I said, "Dude, just relax. Like, I'll do your running for you, okay? Like, don't." And he's like, because he's old at that point. His hands are raised. "Oh man, thanks so much, bro. I really appreciate that." And he was such a good guy. Like, those guys, like, they were so good to us, and one of the best. So like, my wife made me a retirement video when I had initially. We're not getting into that story, but I thought I was going to retire. Didn't end up retiring. Right? Didn't end up. Went back.
Just drops this bombshell at the end.
Went back for a 2-year contract. No, Joe. So I got a bunch of nice messages from, and one of them was Joe Cole, and whatever, blah blah blah, good pro, blah blah blah. But he said, "Best hair I've ever played with." And I said, "You know what? That's what I'm taking. That's on video. Whoa. That's there." And
you better put that, get that, like memorialize that somehow.
I know. And
he's played with David Beckham.
Dude, the guy's played.
I mean, think about all the hair he's played. Think about all the hair he's played with.
I know. He might have been. Was he? He may have been blowing some. I'm going to take it, man.
Yeah,
like he constantly
take it. Absolutely.
He almost wanted that year. I tried to get him
to
convince his grow to him to grow his hair out, and he was almost there.
Well, that's when he had a buzz at one point. He was a bit shocking.
Yeah, he was, but he was when you saw. Obviously, he was old, but when there were bits of like flashes of like, oh man, that guy's pretty good.
Yeah,
that guy's pretty good. So anyway, there you go. That's I left out Dwayne De Rosario. I don't really.
He's Canadian.
I mean, Julian's on there. Julian's Canadian. He's on there, but Dwayne, he's just going to lose the ball too much and complain about it. And I just don't want that on my team.
I hope he doesn't listen to this.
Well, so since Siebers says it's gonna be the last thing he leaves with you.
No, that was my question.
Yeah. No. So just like let's take us out on what are you looking forward to over the next couple months? Because you're going to spend some time here in Iowa. Are you going to the fair? Are you going to the lake?
We'll go to the. We will. The wife likes to do it. We will go to the fair. We've been to. So Lake Okoboji, as I'm sure you guys have.
Okoboji.
Her parents have a house on.
You said she's a northwestern Iowa girl, so that would be like her lake.
Yeah, that's basically. She basically owns the lake at this point. No,
no, right, but like her local lake.
Yeah, No, I know. Yeah, that is. But honestly, I don't know. Her dad's good at what he does.
You said she was an attorney. I don't know.
Her dad's good at what he does.
Again, you're a smarter man.
Smart. Anyway, so we've been to the lake a few times. The next couple months, you know what? I'm going to take. This is random. I'm going to take the wife on a little, just me and the wife getaway.
Good. You do
to
that?
Decorah, Iowa.
Ooh.
You know what? But there's this great little cabin area. Like Decorah's all right. Like
Decorah's sweet, man.
I was like, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go there for a couple of days, get away from the three boys who are just energy all the time.
We'll have to talk about that one off air. We got Decorah's sweet, man. There's good stuff up there.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So we're gonna do that. But that's it. Like, and just enjoy time with the family, man. I was gone for quite some time the last couple of years, away from those three boys, and away from her. So just enjoying time with them and doing a little daddy daycare every now, daddy daycare, basically just taking care of those. But you know what? I'm good at it.
How's your fitness?
How's my fitness?
It looks good, man. But I'm just like, what do you do for your fitness? Then we'll let you go.
Honestly, that's one thing where I've never really been concerned about, like, especially cardio. Like, it just, I can get in shape.
He's that
easy.
Guy.
I can get in shape easy.
He's that guy.
It looks like he's definitely put his feet up for a little bit though recently.
Yeah, look at him. He's huge.
No. I play. So we have a neighbor, like I'm like suburbs, like Urbandale, like near Des Moines Christian. So we have a couple of just little goals in the backyard. The little boys of the neighborhood just come sprinting over there. We play some, So I run a couple sessions. We play some 2-on-2. I let them give up by like 8 goals, and I just come in and just destroy their
shatter their dreams.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's it for me. I love Iowa though, and guys, I appreciate you having me. Honestly,
I think it's been a pleasure. I'm glad we had John.
Was it okay? Are you happy with?
I'm happy. Blake, are you happy?
Are you happy with how it
that's
went?
Adequate.
First time Potter though,
sufficient.
So that's
adequate. I mean, I'll take it.
That's
I guess.
great.
It was great. I appreciate it, guys. Honestly, I appreciate everything you do in Iowa here.
Thanks,
boys.
Love it.